the brooch stained with a continent's blood, the crown's most expensive treasure that people feared to wear. Queen Elizabeth put it on only 3 times in 70 years of reign. Why? What does this brooch made from plundered diamonds hide? A jeweler passed out from terror while finishing work on it. Stones weighing over 150 carats, cut from the largest diamond in history. How many lives were given for this beauty? What curse follows its owners? And most importantly, why did monarchs stay silent for decades about the true origin of this brooch? The chilling secret of this plundered treasure was kept for nearly a century. What hides behind the sparkle of these brilliants will prove more terrifying than any guess. It all started with one discovery that turned the jewelry world upside down. 1905, South Africa. Premier mine. A worker lifts another chunk of rock and freezes. In his hands, a stone the size of a grown man's fist. But this isn't just any stone. 3,106 carats of the purest diamond, the largest find in human history, destined to change the fate of the British crown. But to understand the truth about this legendary brooch, we need to go back to the beginning. The diamond received the name Cullinan, after the mine's owner. Perfect transparency, flawless clarity, nature had created a masterpiece. Specialists from around the world came to glimpse this wonder, but no one dared even suggest how to work with such a giant. The stone lay untouched, awaiting its fate. Then something interesting happened. 1907, the government of the South African colony of Transvaal makes a decision that seemed insane. Give the diamond to King Edward VII of Great Britain. Just like that. A stone capable of supporting a small country travels across the ocean to London. Documents show an unexpected twist. They transported it in an ordinary package with minimal insurance to avoid attracting thieves. The real Cullinan traveled incognito, while a fake was transported by a different route with maximum security. The brilliant trick worked. The king accepted the gift, but now the monarch faced a task that the world's most experienced jewelers refused. The most important part lay ahead. Edward VII held the treasure, but what to do with it? Leave it untouched, turn it into a museum piece, process it, risk destroying it with one wrong move. Jewelers came, looked, shook their heads, and left. One after another refused to take on the work. And then appears the hero of this story. Joseph Asher, head of an Amsterdam jewelry company, recognized as the world's best diamond cutter. When they approached him, he couldn't refuse. His reputation was at stake. But so was his life. Asher understood. One mistake, and the stone turns to dust. Now, the truth about what happened next. Months of preparation. Joseph studied every millimeter, made calculations, drew diagrams. The Cullinan had natural cracks, cleavage lines laid down by nature. He needed to find that one point where a strike would split the stone correctly, not destroy it. 1908, the day of the split. Witnesses gathered in the workshop. Asher positioned the specially made blade at the marked point. Took a hammer. One strike. Silence. The diamond split perfectly, along the cracks, just as planned. From one giant, 9 brilliants were born. Records from that time show a dramatic finale. Joseph Asher passed out right there in the workshop. The nervous tension of many months, the responsibility, the fear all crashed down at once. One of the greatest jewelers in history couldn't withstand his own triumph. But he succeeded. The 9 stones received names. Cullinan the first, the second, and so on to the 9th. The real turning point came with the distribution of the brilliants. Within days, it became clear what fate awaited each stone. Cullinan I, 530 carats, took its place in the royal scepter. They called it the Great Star of Africa. Cullinan II, 317 carats, adorned the imperial state crown. two giants became symbols of the British monarchy. But that's not all. The remaining 7 stones awaited their own fate. And here begins the story that interests us most. 3 brilliants. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th received a special purpose. The key moment arrived in 1911. Queen Mary of Teck, wife of King George V, decided that Cullinan III and IV should have new life. Not in a crown, not in a scepter, in something more personal, in jewelry that could be worn close to the heart. The next owner of this story, the very idea of transformation. Mary of Teck approached the legendary jewelry house Garrard, court jewelers who had worked for the royal family for over a century. The task seemed simple at first glance: create a brooch from 2 stones, but not just connect them together, create a masterpiece worthy of their origin. And now we approach the main point. Photographs captured the important moment of the legendary ornament's birth. Cullinan III, 94.4 carats, pear-shaped cut. Cullinan IV, 63.3 carats, square cushion cut. The Garrard masters created a brilliant composition. The larger stone hangs from the smaller one. The pear-shaped brilliant like a water drop flows from the square base. 2 stones, cut from one legendary diamond, reunited in a new form. The brooch received a name: the Lesser Stars of Africa, in contrast to the great stars in the scepter and crown. But no less dazzling. Then something completely unexpected began. Mary of Teck proved to be not just an owner of jewels. She was a strategist of jewelry, and this brooch became proof of her genius. Years later, the situation changed. The Queen began wearing the stones separately from each other. Cullinan IV became part of a tiara for official ceremonies. The same stone transformed into an independent brooch for less formal occasions. And it could be attached to another brooch, the so-called heart brooch, created from South African diamonds. Cullinan III lived its own life. The pear-shaped drop became a pendant, a locket, the central element of different compositions. Mary of Teck turned 2 brilliants into building blocks, where each piece worked both solo and as a duet. But the main intrigue of this ornament revealed itself later. So what's the real story of the Lesser Stars? When Elizabeth II took the throne, she inherited all the royal jewels, including this brooch, the ornament that experts call the most expensive in the world. Let's look at the facts. Only the stones in the scepter and crown are larger than Cullinan III and IV. Everything else, smaller. This is the pinnacle of jewelry art, available for wearing. Insurers refused to even approximately estimate the value. Hundreds of millions? A billion? More? 2 brilliants from the legendary Cullinan, processed by the best masters with royal history. Such things aren't sold or bought. And here appears a mystery that surprises everyone. Elizabeth II wore the Lesser Stars only a few times in 70 years of reign. A few times. The world's most expensive brooch spent decades in the Tower treasury. What really happened? The answer is simple and complex at once. Such ornaments, not just jewels, they're symbols. Symbols of history, continuity, greatness. You can't wear them to every outing. They demand an appropriate moment, an appropriate event. Each appearance of the Lesser Stars became a statement. Now the most unexpected part. In the royal family appeared an unofficial nickname for the brooch, Granny's Chips. A strange name for a priceless treasure? Yes, but it reflects a special connection between generations of monarchs, from Mary of Teck to Elizabeth, from grandmother to granddaughter, passing down not just an ornament, but a piece of history. The brooch's true value revealed itself through its versatility. Mary of Teck ordered not just jewelry, she created a transformer that served several generations of queens. The stones could be worn together as a brooch, could be divided and used separately. Cullinan IV in a tiara for coronations, Cullinan III as a pendant for special occasions. Documents show that Elizabeth II understood the symbolic meaning of each outing with this brooch. When she wore the lesser stars, it was a signal about the importance of the moment, about connection with the empire's history, about continuity of traditions. The brooch didn't just shine on her dress, it told a story without words. Now the ornament is kept in the tower along with the rest of the crown regalia, behind armored glass, in a special display case. Millions of tourists pass by annually, look at two shining brilliants. Most don't understand what they're looking at. Don't know the story of the mine in Africa, the dramatic split of the stone, the brilliant design of Queen Mary. The story from discovery to royal treasury took just over a century. A stone weighing 3,106 carats, transformed into a constellation of brilliance. Each carries a piece of that history. The jeweler who passed out from tension, the queen who turned the ornament into a work of art, the monarch who wore the brooch only in the most important moments. The lesser stars of Africa, not just two brilliants fastened together. It's a reminder that the true value of jewels isn't in carats or price, but in the story they tell, in the hands that wore them, in the moments they captured. A brooch that witnessed the change of eras, wars, coronations, triumphs, and tragedies of the royal family, and continues to keep these stories for future generations, reminding us, greatness is measured not by the size of the stone, but by the depth of the story it carries. The truth turned out far deeper. There was no curse. There was a story of incredible craftsmanship and symbolic value. The jeweler didn't pass out from horror, but from colossal tension after months of work on a unique stone. Elizabeth wore the brooch rarely, not from fear, but because such treasures demand special moments in history. The lesser stars of Africa, not a curse, but a memory of the greatest triumph of a cutter and the genius of Queen Mary. Think about it. Isn't the real drama of creation more amazing than invented legends? If this story grabbed you, hit like. It inspires us to dig even deeper. Subscribe to learn about other royal secrets where truth is more interesting than any rumors. And click the bell. Ahead are stories that will flip your understanding of monarchy. See you in the next episode.